In LA this week.
The arrival of autonomous vehicles in Los Angeles will drastically change the way we live, at home, on our roads, our entire infrastructure. I'm Gil Reyes with the story next.
I'm Anna Marcos. Council President Herb Wesson being honored at this reception for the mayor's Housing, Transportation, and Job Summit. Find out why coming up.
The Women's Business Forum is all about female leadership in business. More on this event at City Hall coming up. Hello and welcome to LA This Week. Thanks for joining us. I'm Yana Kay. Gun violence is a growing epidemic in LA and across the country. And now several groups have joined forces to put on the Firearm Domestic Violence Summit, an effort to shine a light on gun violence and domestic abuse. Anna Marcos has more.
According to the experts, 1 of every 4 women will be the victims of domestic abuse. And in fact, 1 in 7 men will also be abused. The Firearm Domestic Violence Summit was put on by several groups, including Women Against Gun Violence. It explored some hardcore issues around domestic abuse, including police officers' attitudes and societies.
Intimate partner violence is part of larger patterns of violence against marginalized groups. Violence against women, people of color, LGBT people, and others, and that the police can sometimes perpetuate that violence.
Participants say more education is needed for the public and police to better protect families in domestic abuse cases. City Attorney Mike Feuer, another champion for gun violence prevention, has worked on policies to keep guns away from criminals, children, and domestic abusers.
Kids who are witnesses or victims of violence, let's say domestic violence, but not only domestic violence, gang activity, gun violence in a neighborhood, are more likely to perpetrate it later on. Kids who are exposed to violence on an ongoing basis will never have their brains develop the way they were biologically intended to.
This panel included survivors of domestic abuse, like Marlise Neri. She says she endured 41 years of it.
I've been beaten to the ground and kicked all over my body with steel-toe boots. I've been slugged in my head repeatedly over the years. I had a knife put to my throat. I've been strangled.
Nuneri finally got the courage to leave her husband, but she says he later shot her in the heart in front of her children. She luckily survived, but advocates say women in domestic violence situations in which there's a gun in the house are 5 times more likely to get killed. They want stronger policies to make sure fewer women ever have to face that kind of gun violence or any violence in the home. I'm Anna Marcos for LA This Week.
The group Women Against Gun Violence works to fight gun violence through legislation and by working with police and the media. Well, turning now to LA's severe housing shortage. We know it takes good housing to attract good jobs. Well, one reception for the mayor's recent Housing, Transportation, and Jobs Summit singled out those who are doing something about it. Here's Anna Marcos with that story. Anna.
Yana, you could call this reception an appetizer event for the mayor's Housing, Transportation, and Jobs Summit. And one of the stars of this show is Council President Herb Wesson for his work in trying to improve LA's critical housing challenges. There is a serious reason for all the partying. The LA Business Council is dead set on making LA as business-friendly and housing-friendly as possible.
For the last 15 years, we've really focused on issues affecting homeless, affordable housing, transportation, energy, and international trade.
Each year, the group honors local leaders who help boost LA's economic prospects. This year, Council President Herb Wesson gets a nod for his work in helping to push Prop HHH last year, a $1.2 billion bond approved by voters to build homeless and affordable housing in LA.
Not only is it the humane thing to do, the moral thing to do, I think that helps attract more business, retain existing business. So I view it as a good thing all the way around.
We have to increase the housing supply here in LA. And I think Herb Wesson really appreciates how important that is.
Supervisor Mark Ridley Thomas also awarded for his work in making Measure H happen. the county's partner measure, which will provide supportive services for the new homeless units to get built by the city.
The whole region decided that there was something that needed to be done. It's as if we located or relocated our moral compass and decided, Greg, that we needed to do something.
2 businesses also got awards, one for its affordable housing and another for building the first housing development in the country so energy efficient it will net 0 emissions. And this, just a small piece of the housing transportation jobs puzzle as the mayor's summit sets its course for LA's economic future. I'm Anna Marcos for LA This Week.
Housing advocates say about half of all Angelenos spend a third of their income on rent. Well, driverless vehicles won't just change the way we travel, they could also drastically affect how roads and housing are built. As Gil Reyes reports, city agencies brace for the not-so-distant future.
There it is. Oh, isn't that cute?
LA city agencies gear up for the arrival of self-driving cars. They're coming all right, and streets could be completely transformed, with lanes reserved for autonomous vehicles. With fewer regular cars expected on the road, traffic lanes could be removed or repurposed.
It could allow for smaller streets, which could enable entire lanes to be made available for shops, for parks, for green space, etc. Autonomous vehicles is way more than just a shift in technology. It's a change in the way cities are built.
ITA General Manager Ted Ross leads the discussion at the city's first autonomous vehicle workshop. AVs are also expected to take up little parking space compared to traditional cars. All that extra space in parking garages and lots could then be used to build much-needed housing, schools, and parks. The Department of Transportation, Bureau of Street Services, and other city agencies talk possibilities.
To really think about how the arrival of this technology is going to change the way we do business, the way we do our work every day.
Also discussed a new city app for your exact transportation needs.
It would include public transit options, bike share, autonomous vehicles in the future, so all of the different modes that are really available to you. Because as a mom, for example, would I travel when I'm going to a business meeting is very different than when I've got my 2 kids in tow and might need car seats or different types of accommodations.
ITA Assistant GM Jean Holm says owning your own autonomous vehicle could become more affordable with expected changes in car insurance rates.
We know that 90% of accidents and fatalities right now happen because of human error. When we have an autopilot at the helm, that human error goes away. And so the entire idea of having to pay all this money for insurance changes because you don't need insurance in the same way.
Now, all of these ideas sound way into the future, right? But no, not really. Currently in California, autonomous vehicles with drivers behind the wheel, just in case something goes wrong, are being tested. By this summer, totally autonomous vehicles could be tested in California. Reporting from La Cret's Innovation Campus, I'm Gil Reyes for LA This Week.
And those tests could begin taking place on California highways as early as June. Industry experts also say the first commercial autonomous vehicles could arrive on LA streets within 5 years. Well, 300 women business owners networked, got insider info, and maybe drummed up new deals as the first annual Women's Business Forum kicked off at LA City Hall. Anna Marcos was there.
From Native American designs, jewelry, and clothing to high-tech startups, the entrepreneurs at this Women's Business Forum are a force to be reckoned with. This business owner started Duobed, a unique furniture idea.
It's been a challenge getting this out there. It's a new concept in modular, multifunctional furniture. It starts with a storage ottoman. You add a pillow, it becomes a chair. You add another chair. Now you got a sofa or a twin bed. Legos for adults. And I'm hoping I can find some information on how to break into that market.
I really believe in creating that pipeline of entrepreneurship within women so that other little girls, like my 8-year-old, can see that women can do anything they want in this country.
This event gives female movers and shakers a place to network and get information. Council members Nuri Martinez and Monica Rodriguez are taking part in the joint effort with the Departments of Finance and Public Works. The city wants to give more women a shot at its lucrative contract jobs.
Some of the early work that I started while I was on the Board of Public Works was dedicated to helping expand opportunities for women business owners to help assure that they could have a competitive environment in our contracting process. This event is just an extension of that to assure that women have access.
Here's a tip. Most city contracts are given not to individuals but to teams of entrepreneurs. So network, network, network.
There's a lot of opportunity there for women to really look and say, how can I fit in? Whether it's managing a project, whether it's providing personal services, even for those services, there's always a team of people that are needed.
I found the most incredible business partner. Finding that right person who could play off of my strengths, and she had the things that I didn't have, was the most valuable thing to get my business launched, because you have to have that core.
This panel offers yet more tips. Take advantage of free resources like the city-led workshop and find your own way of doing business in what is often still a man's world.
And so trying to prepare for that and find my own voice and find my own language inside of, folks who have a very different expectation, and name my value. And I think the best advice I ever got was don't let them name that for you.
According to Councilmember Nuri Martinez, almost 500,000 LA County businesses are women-owned, about 43%. That's a lot of economic and financial clout. Workshops like this teach female entrepreneurs how to use that clout to gain more business and leadership roles. I'm Anna Marcos for LA This Week.
One of the free city resources women entrepreneurs can take advantage of is the Small Business Academy, a free 10-week workshop on getting city contracts, but it's only once a year. You can sign up at labavn.org to get notified about upcoming workshops and events. Charter school students get creative to raise money for arts education. Gil Reyes reports from the Reef in downtown.
For kids at Kipp LA schools, it's not just an art show, it's a catharsis of childhood angst.
I enjoy most when I can express myself and I am free to draw and paint.
Sixth grader Gabriela Navarro says her flower painting is an expression of her personal growth over the past year, through good times and bad. It's among the student works at MOCA, that stands for Museum of Kipp Art, so it's MOCA with a K.
It's a fundraiser to help the arts in the Kipp LA region schools, but it's also more the celebration of art with the children. It actually helps the children increase their confidence.
Kipp, or the Knowledge is Power program, is a network of free college prep public charter schools in East and South Los Angeles. Some of the children's works depict the pressures of growing up. At a young age, 8th grader Danette Ornelas is beginning to understand that time is fleeting and the importance of making time with family despite family quarrels sometimes. She puts the concept to canvas.
Just as it being an idea from your imagination, you can actually put your feelings and emotions into that painting, and you can call it yours, and people admire it.
Turning grief into gold. At the MOCA Fundraiser at the Reef in downtown, I'm Gil Reyes for LA This Week.
Kipp operates 15 elementary and middle schools in East and South LA. Well, ever watch improv? Comedians construct their acts on the fly, largely based on audience reaction. Same idea here, but for a new mural on Olvera Street. Gil Reyes shows us.
Please keep talking. Conversation among visitors inspires artist Hugo Crostwaite to finish his work. You'll find him painting it at the Museum of Social Justice on Olvera Street.
As I'm creating the narrative, their influences also permeate into the mural. And also just opening myself up as this notion that I'm not just creating my own imagery, but it's also about absorbing the imagery that's around me and the narrative that's around me.
Throughout the weeks-long process, he's all ears, improvising his brushstrokes to the sights and sounds around him. The mural is called In Memoriam, and fittingly so, because when it's all finished, the artist will begin destroying it, painting over it, bit by bit, over several more weeks until it's gone. Audience participation again will be encouraged, for this piece of performance art starring you and your overall vibe. At the Museum of Social Justice on Olvera Street, I'm Gil Reyes for LA This Week.
The artwork will be on display until February. Well, the game is a lot like soccer, but it's got a funny name. And now Watts kids are getting their first futsal court ever at South LA's 109th Street Recreation Center. Anna Marcos shows us what this futsal is all about.
It's not football, it's not foosball, it's futsal. And that's the sound of happy kids thanking the cops and city leaders who helped bring the first futsal court ever to Watts.
It's awesome. It's fun. It's a little bit hot, but I'm trying to get used to the turf grass and stuff.
Think of it as a form of soccer, except it's indoors. Well, except this futsal court happens to be outdoors. Anyway, guys and girls, sometimes even insects, kicking a ball around. Oh, wait, that's Cosmo, the LA Galaxy mascot. Just don't catch the ball like that. But look at this. Was that council member Joe Buscaino heading the futsal ball? Pretty wild for a council member. High fives all around.
The South Los Angeles, Watts in general, is very park poor. This community deserves more amenities, more park space.
All this futsal also helps provide a safe game to play and a safe place to be for the kids after school hours.
This is very near and dear to my heart, an opportunity for children to come out in a place like this and live their dreams. Sports changed my life. I'm living my dream.
The LA Galaxy Foundation, Southern New Hampshire University, and the Department of Recreation and Parks all pitched in to make futsal happen in Watts.
We recognize that learning can happen in many different formats, not just in a classroom.
This was a tennis court at one time, and look what you are sitting on, a beautiful synthetic futsal court.
The futsal court is located at the 109th Street Rec Center. It will serve thousands of kids and families living in the area, and maybe an insect or two. I'm Anna Marcos for LA This Week.
The game of futsal normally has 5 members on each team, but the enthusiastic game you just saw showed considerably more kids and city leaders playing. Well, one of the most diverse neighborhoods in LA shows us how a music festival is done. From immigrant sounds to indie rock, Gil Reyes shows us from the Eagle Rock Music Festival.
At one of LA's most diverse music festivals, the band Mexico 68 gives us a taste of Afrobeat. Afrobeat combines jazz, funk, and African music. Just one of the sounds to make you want to dance at the Eagle Rock Music Festival.
You come up here, you're going to get everything from hip-hop to salsa to a new type of alternative music. There's a little bit for everyone here, and that's what Northeast LA is about. That's what Los Angeles is about.
Councilman Jose Huizar and Center of the Arts Eagle Rock produced the show. Some 40 acts, including soul band The Altons, playing on 8 stages up and down several blocks of Colorado Boulevard. Torrance indie rockers The 131ers entertained the cool kids near the emerging stage. While over at the tropical stage, the band Chungui Mahadero got people moving with Chungui. That's music originating from Baracoa in eastern Cuba. Longtime Eagle Rock family-owned business Rance Auto Center gave out free food.
All the hard work my dad put into, he was an immigrant and all that, and guess what? We made it, and this is our big thank you back to the community. Free tacos, free drinks.
The party continued when drummer-producer Tomer hit the main stage. Good vibes all around in the community of Eagle Rock. Population 35,000.
It's part of a larger metropolitan area, but it has a small town feel. So when people come out in a festival, they walk the streets, see their neighbors, and we keep uniting. That builds community. It builds trust. It builds pride in local community. That's a lot of what this is.
At the Eagle Rock Music Festival, I'm Gil Reyes for LA This Week.
Again, the concert was free, but people were also able to buy VIP tickets for $10 to $20. Money raised will fund Eagle Rock arts programs. Well, want to see some firefighters get a fire going? Well, in the kitchen, that is. The LA Fire Department helped put on the Fire It Up BBQ Competition, a day of family fun for a good cause. Anna Marcos has more.
A long day of slaving over that hot grill takes its toll.
It may take its toll on the chefs, but this Fire It Up barbecue competition sure is easy on the taste buds. The foodie contest helps raise money for 2 firefighter charities, the Fire Family Foundation, which helps needy firefighter families, and the African American Firefighter Museum, which preserves the heritage and memorabilia of African American firefighters.
It's a great cause. It brings people together, eating over some good barbecue.
Yep, there's even some semi-celebrities around. LA Dodgers announcer Todd Leitz is master of ceremonies as 5 barbecue masters, most of them firefighters by day, cook up a storm. Pulled pork, brisket, mac ribs, and sausages are on the menu. And come on, you gotta have mac and cheese with that.
No, I think the food, the pulled pork was excellent.
And for the healthy eaters, some chicken and veggies. Oh, and there's Mexican chichas as well. So it's all covered here.
The rest of the food was awesome, but most of all, I also like the people serving it. They're super kind, they're super nice.
But it's the barbecue masters who take home the biggest kudos and the $500 grand prize.
Congratulations, Antoine, as our overall grand champion.
The LA Fire Department's own celebrity firefighter Rich Fields from the Food Network helps with the judging.
I know what I like to taste, and definitely some outstanding entries. Food was great. The competition was good.
I think we're going to have a lot of support from a donation basis into both of these charities today.
What do you guys think? Would this be a good thing to do again?
A happy occasion that will make some firefighters in need even happier. I'm Anna Marcos for LA This Week.
Another sponsor was the United Firefighters of Los Angeles City. A historical cultural monument springs back to life. City officials help community members get prepared for an emergency, and driving or walking in El Sereno just got a lot easier. All these stories in Citybeat. Los Angeles City Council member Mitch O'Farrell flipped the switch, relighting the iconic sign perched on top of the historic Jensens Recreation Center on Sunset Boulevard. O'Farrell and community members took part in a community celebration at Logan Street next to Lassen's parking lot. Built in 1924, Jensens Recreation Center is an early 20th century mixed-use property featuring residential units and retail space. The animated sign, which reads Jensens Recreation Center, depicts a bowler throwing a strike. The sign contains 1,300 red, green, and white light bulbs and is billed as the last remaining incandescent sign of this type and size in the U.S. The sign has been inoperable for most of the past 50 years. The building was declared a Los Angeles Historic Cultural Monument in 1998.
Your support, your diligence, your passion, your appreciation of history, your appreciation of Echo Park history, it really shows.
The East Valley community came together recently for an emergency summit where residents learned what to do before, during, and after a disaster. Officials say they want all Angelenos to be prepared for the big earthquake, and the first step is to get to know your neighborhood and neighbors.
These are the people who are going to be there when that natural disaster strikes. And the way to build a neighborhood is through relationships. And if we don't start looking outside our front doors and outside of our phone books and our phones for that community resiliency, it's just not going to happen.
Councilmember Jose Huizar, the city's Bureau of Engineering and Department of Transportation unveiled a $20 million Soto Street and Mission Road project upgrade. The project included the removal of the Soto Street Bridge, which was first built to separate trains from vehicles in 1936. It was converted into a car-only bridge in the 1960s, but its design created dangerous blind crossings and entrance and exit points in and around the bridge.
This area here wasn't really designed for multimodal transportation, and we want to make sure that however you're getting around, whether you're walking, bicycling, or you're in a car, that it's safe for everybody.
Well, what does the future hold for one of South LA's busiest streets? As Gil Reyes reports, a neighborhood in Watts gets a preview of safety and beautification upgrades.
Tree-lined streets, shading, children's play areas. It's not the Watts that we know, it's Watts reimagined.
This is just one example of how the space could be reused, and it's all the community's idea.
Watts Reimagined is the effort to revitalize Wilmington Avenue between Imperial Highway and 103rd Street, an effort led by the mayor's office.
But it's also about creating a vibrant and walkable space. And so you'll see that we have striped out and enhanced visibility crosswalk.
This crosswalk is only temporary, a possible preview of things to come based on community input and millions of dollars set aside for improvements. Expect to see drought-tolerant landscaping, storm water capture projects, and new bus shelters, too.
This can actually happen in their neighborhood. That although they've spent years in this area, which has been often neglected, that we have a new vision or reimagining.
Watts Reimagined. On 103rd and Wilmington, I'm Gil Reyes for LA This Week.
Funding comes from the Mayor's Great Streets Challenge. That's a plan to improve several of the city's busiest streets. Money also comes from a $3 million legal settlement between community activists and LA County. Well, help raise money for people who are homeless during United Way's annual Home Walk. Enjoy Dr. Seuss and all of his beloved characters live on stage, and get the whole family moving during a turkey run in Chatsworth. All this in this week's Things to Do. Join LA Homeless Service Authority and United Way of Greater LA at United Way's 11th annual Home Walk to end homelessness countywide. Since the inaugural Home Walk in 2006, more than 85,000 residents have helped raise $7.6 million to directly house 18,000 of our formerly homeless neighbors. This year, United Way is hoping to raise $1.5 million, mobilize 15,000 people, and recruit more than 600 volunteers. The event takes place Saturday, November 18th at 6:30 a.m. at Graham Park. To register and fundraise, visit unitedwayla.org. For the month of November, all your favorite Dr. Seuss characters will be brought to life in an imaginative musical adventure for the whole family. Colorful characters like Horton the Elephant, the Cat in the Hat, Gertrude McFuzz, Lazy Maisie, and a little boy with a big imagination, Jojo, transport us from the jungle of Newell to the Circus McGurkus to the invisible world of the Who's and beyond. Seussical the Musical is a fun-filled magical musical for the whole family. Don't miss it on Saturday, November 18th and Sunday, November 19th at Granada Hills Charter High School. For more, visit ghchs.com. Join Anytime Fitness Chatsworth for their first annual turkey run. Kids under the age of 6 can participate for free, and registration includes a t-shirt and running bib. All proceeds will go to the Boys and Girls Club. The run takes place on Sunday, November 19th from 7:30 to 11 a.m. at the Santa Susana Trailhead. And that's a look at some things to do. Well, that's going to do it for this edition. I'm Yana Kane from all of us here at LA This Week. Thanks for joining us. A reminder that you can catch us online at lacityview.org. You can also follow and like us on Facebook. We'll see you back here next week for more of LA This Week.